You know, Shireman could be the next Havlicek.
Shireman could be the next Bird. You're back!
I'm back!
Oh my gosh, what's it been, like 10 weeks?
Longer than that, believe it or not. Yeah, it's been 3 months. But I'm back and I'm stressed out because I feel like a lot has changed since I went out.
You missed a lot.
The Celtics were the number 2 seed in the East when I left.
Yeah, they're still the number 2 seed.
But when I left Payton Pritchard,
Yeah.
he was all over the news as the leading Sixth Man of the Year candidate.
He's still leading the conversation for Sixth Man of the Year award, I would say, yeah.
Okay. But when I left, Al Horford was playing like he was 10 years younger than he was.
Yeah, nothing's changed there.
I guess he always plays that way.
Has anything changed since I went out?
Well, Luke did train the guys to bark like dogs, so they're dogs now.
What the hell?
I feel like you missed a lot.
Ruh.
Coming up on this edition of Celtics Weekly, the Road Dogs set a 6-0 record out west. Derrick White breaks the Celtics' 3-point record, and Payton Pritchard makes his case for Sixth Man of the Year. All that and more now.
Welcome into Celtics Weekly, where we catch you up with everything on the world champs.
I'm back.
They're
I'm
back
back.
in Boston. Marc D'Amico's back in Boston.
I'm back.
How's it feel, buddy?
It feels great, but I'm sorry for all of you out there because now you have me instead of Drew Carter and Chris Forsberg. Significant downgrade. I'm sorry, but here we go.
Absolutely
All right,
not.
thank you.
We've got a lot
I
to
can
get
tell you're
to
lying.
this show. JD Davison just won G League MVP.
Amazing. Good
We're
for
going to
him,
get to
man.
the main Celtics later in the show. Of course, Joe Mazzulla, keep this award season rolling.
Award
He just
season
got
in April.
Coach of the Month for the East. So we got a lot to get to, but the Celtics are the road dogs, and they're coming off a 6-0 historic road trip. So let's hit Weekly Rewind. We're going to start with Kristaps Porzingis, who spoke this into existence.
You guys head out on a season-long 6-game trip. What does a successful trip look like?
For us, probably 6-0, I would say, for us. But we'll see. I mean, obviously we expect to win every game. I don't know, it was maybe, a handful of games this season again that we were not favorites. So I don't know what the betting odds will say, but probably, trying to win every game. And I don't know what our roster will also look like. That's another, question. But, 6-0, come back home would be perfect.
The unicorn becomes the oracle. I love it.
I love that. Yeah. Hey, listen, we've got cookies and cream, right? Jaylen Brown, we all know a couple years ago he did the energy is shifting. And now his best friend on the team, Kristaps Porzingis, is also predicting the future by saying they're going 6-0. Just an incredible, incredible road trip from them. Never had been done in the history of the most storied franchise in basketball. And somehow they got it done on this trip. I thought it was a little ambitious to say that going out of that locker room after the win here at TD Garden, but clearly he knew something that we all didn't.
Absolutely, he set the expectations. Let's take a look at the competition that they faced, because where we left off last week, it was Phoenix, and a nice little start here, even though they didn't have Jason Tatum. They won by 30 points. Celtics shooters had 10 three-pointers in the first quarter.
Yeah, no question. This was one of the best all-around, especially offensive games that the Celtics have had all season. I believe it was a 50-40-90 game as a team. They've only done that 2 times this season. So one of the best shooting performances they've had, one of the best offensive performances they've had, and just across the board, everyone contributed. And like you said, it's nice to see that they can do that when they got one of their top dogs not playing on
You
the
see
court.
Porzingis on defense there. He went 4 for 5 from the three-point line, had 30 points.
Yeah,
himself,
that's not
so
bad. That's not bad.
That makes the difference. Let's move on to San Antonio. Jason Tatum made his triumphant return after his ankle injury. He dropped 29 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. He's been so close to those triple-doubles all season. Almost got it.
He's floating with it every night. I feel like he has a chance to get a triple-double every time he takes the court. And we all know that Tatum has been in the MVP conversation for the last few years, right? Like every single year, he's going to be in the top 5, somewhere around there. Somehow he's getting better with his all-around game. I mean, he's flirting with a triple-double every time he takes the court. So great to see him kind of gearing up for the playoff run by doing this in both shooting, passing, rebounding, defense. He's doing everything across the board, so great to see.
And then, of course, finally, Memphis, the last stop on this road trip. Kristaps Porzingis shot 50%. So did Al Horford and Drew Holiday. Those guys joined Derrick White and Jason Tatum in double digits.
Yeah, not a bad performance there. You wrap up a trip against a team that has a brand new coach, that has Ja Morant back in the lineup, that is really fighting for its playoff lives right now. And it's the last trip, or the last game of your road trip. So if you think there's going to be a letdown, that's probably going to be the one. And yet here the Celtics are. They sweep it. They run away after that timeout that Joe Mazzulla called during the second quarter. Really impressive that they responded right there and came back and dominated the rest of the night. So awesome performance from them to be able to close it out fighting against all those circumstances that I just mentioned.
Absolutely. It was an outstanding second half, but of course the headline from that game was Derrick White setting a new franchise record of three-pointers in one season. That was previously held by Isaiah Thomas in the 2016-2017 season. So let's hear from Derrick White how it felt to hit that mark in our Small Bite segment. Here he is.
Jason said you guys have been talking about that three-point record. What did it feel like to break it tonight?
Yeah, we talked about it on the plane, and I mean it's pretty cool that there's three of us like so close to doing something special. And I mean honestly, just looking back on my career, I never thought I'd be in this position, and so I'm just thankful for the coaching staff, thankful for the guys on this team, and I know I wouldn't be able to do it without them, so I'll hold it for now until one of them breaks my record, so that's cool.
Why do you say that?
Because they're great at what they do.
No, that you didn't think you would be able to.
I mean, did you watch me early in my career? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I even didn't think I would shoot this many threes, and so just kind of keep developing. Thankful to have a coaching staff and teammates that believe in me and trust me and allow me to go out there and be aggressive and do what I do.
Derrick White is the most humble NBA player that I've ever dealt with, but you have some outstanding context to why 246 three-pointers, now 247 at the end of that game, is such a big number for him.
Yeah, it's context around that quote because it sounded like he was in disbelief of what he has done himself. And the reason why he was in disbelief is because for the first 4+ seasons of his career, which is his entire career with the San Antonio Spurs, he made 300 total three-pointers in that entire span, 4+ years. He gets to Boston, keeps working on his three-point shot, and then this season alone, he's made 247 and counting with another 6 or 7 games to go. So a little bit more context. 300 in his first 4+ seasons with the Spurs, and now 247 and counting just this season alone with the Celtics. He has put in the work. He has become one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, and as you know, he is the most clutch three-point shooter in the NBA right now.
Absolutely, but as you mentioned, that as you're watching this right now, that might not stand.
Yeah,
the record
true.
that he set. Jason Tatum, maybe you're watching this a little later in the week. We're every Wednesday, but maybe you're catching us on the weekend. Jason Tatum could have passed it. They could have gone back and forth. It's a fun
be a race
number.
to the finish line.
And if you like numbers, you're going to love the next part of the show because we're going to Taylor Snow for Tailor-Made Stats. Time now for Tailor-Made Stats. This is where we crunch some basketball numbers with our chief dork officer. That's Taylor Snow of Celtics.com. So Taylor, what numbers have you cooked up for us this week?
You know, there's a lot that stood out about that 6-0 road trip. The thing that stood out to me is the fact that all 6 wins came by double digits, which that ties a franchise record for most consecutive road wins by 10 or more points. Funny enough,
they did it on one trip.
Yes, they did it on one trip. Funny thing is, the team that they tied was last year's team, who also won 6 straight on the road, separate trips, but in the month of March. Same thing that this team did. Now, winning on the road, it's a big part of building a championship mindset. And this kind of shows this down here. Just all the times that they have won at least 5 straight on the road by double digits, pretty much every time they have won a championship that season, or at least made the finals.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm not trying to say anything, but
okay.
They're building the right mindset. The Road Dogs building the right mindset.
I feel like you went over your character limit on this tweet.
I think I did. Yes, that's what I'm paying for. All right, and the end of that road trip, Al Horford led the charge. No surprise, he keeps doing this stuff. 26 points, it's a season high. That's actually the most points he has scored in a Celtics uniform since October 2017.
Woo!
So that was just a couple weeks into Jason Tatum's rookie season.
That's crazy.
I am once again asking for the Al Horford method, because the way that this guy turns back the clock every year, I mean, we joked about it in the opener of the show, but it's like, what is the nutrition there? What is the conditioning there? How are we still getting these numbers from him?
Yep, he's a special man.
I do want to note, he did score 26 in the finals a couple of years ago, so this is a regular season stat right here. But last time that he led the team in scoring was 2019. Last time he did on the road was 2017.
Literally more than 6 years ago.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yep. And then last thing, Payton Pritchard, we've talked a lot about his scoring, deservedly so, leads all bench players in scoring three-pointers. I feel like one thing that's been overlooked is his offensive rebounding. He has 95 offensive rebounds at 6'1", which is incredible. And just to show some context there, I looked up all the offensive rebounding leaders among players under 6'4", and he's almost 30 ahead of the next player.
On the 4, right?
Yes.
He's only 6'1".
He's only 6'1". Well, he's more like up here. But yeah, so I mean, he is just crushing it. And I know one argument could be, Celtics shoot a lot of threes, so a lot of rebounds go out the perimeter. But in Payton's case, he crashes the boards a lot. Like, he just slithers in there, pulls down these rebounds. So, I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything. It's not just his scoring this season.
And by the way, that is exactly what the coaches are asking of him and other guards like Jrue Holiday, a lot of offensive rebounds. Corner crashes is where they're coming from, and they're getting those offensive rebounds. So not only is he doing it, but it's actually a part of Boston's game plan every night.
Absolutely. It's going to be a moderately tall King spring. There are not a lot of short Kings in the NBA, but moderately tall.
But there are on this show, you know what I'm saying?
All right, well, if you want Payton Pritchard, don't go anywhere after this break, because we are going to discuss his great case for Sixth Man of the Year right after this.
He pulls up. Yes! Oh, Jaylen Brown, just too big. From deep. Come on! Against Brooks, that's his first. Holiday for three. Pritchard. Brown now, bounce pass, and the finish from Horford.
Welcome back. Our hot topic this week is a guy who's been a hot topic all year. Of course, that's Payton Pritchard. An exciting timing here because the Celtics are officially kicking off his campaign for Sixth Man of the Year.
It is award season.
An award that the Celtics are well acquainted with so many guys. Most recently, Malcolm Brogdon winning this award. What is the case here, Mark, for Payton Pritchard?
What is the case? Well, let me tell you, and I'm going to pick up my piece of paper and read it because there's no way I would be able to memorize all of these stats that say it's 100% that he should win this award. All right, he's come off the bench for 72 of his 73 games. That means only one start. No one else in the top 6 of bench scoring all season has played more than 60 off the bench. So he comes off the bench every game. That's why he should win this award. On top of that, 20 more three-pointers than any other bench player in the league, and 85 more than the number 3 ranked player coming off the bench. I'm going to continue. He's the only bench player with more than 1,000 points. Boom. He's top 15 in reserves in rebounds as a 6'1" guard. He's 3rd in assists. He's 5th in steals. He is the best in the NBA among reserves in plus minus at plus 391. That is a slam dunk case. There is no way this guy is not winning the award. I think everyone knows it already. He probably doesn't want to acknowledge it, but there's no way the voters can go in any other direction.
That is a Payton Pritchard manifesto.
That's right
there. Thank you for bringing it to the table.
I wrote that last night.
And don't forget that 40-40 game with Derrick White. That was there have been these awesome moments for Payton Pritchard throughout the season.
It's going to be a great trivia question, like 20 years down the line.
Right. Which two Celtics? Everybody will guess the Jays, but it was Derrick White and Payton Pritchard. Yep. But as we keep award season rolling, we got to head over.
Yes.
We got to head up, I should say, to Portland, Maine for our player spotlight. So this week, we're not just doing a player spotlight. I mean, we're going to start here with a really cool piece of video, but it's a Maine spotlight because we're looking at the Maine Celtics and the wonderful playoff run that they're just starting. JD Davison gets G League MVP, and here's him. This is a really cool video. Him learning the news.
And then 3. 38 and 12 on 22 shots. You know what? That's why you're the MVP.
super fun. Those guys have
So
fun up
awesome.
in Maine. For JD, though, I mean, this is how far he's grown. He had 14 double-doubles this year, and we'll get to the heater that Maine overall and as a team is on in the G League. But JD Davison, I think you'd be lying if you said that you saw this coming for him just a year ago.
Oh my God. I mean, what an incredible level of growth for him, both as a person and as a player. Like, he's come so far. If you just talk to him now versus when you talked to him when he came out of Alabama, like, he's a different guy, and he's also a different player. This is just incredible growth out of him. He has turned himself into an NBA player. Like, he's not a G League player. That's what happens when you win MVP and you average whatever it was, 25, 7, and 5 throughout the season, shooting 48% from the field. He is an NBA player. He has earned this. The team has helped him earn it by winning and being on a hot run, which we're going to talk about right here. But that's just such an awesome moment. Like, I'm going to remember watching that for the rest of my life. I know he's going to remember that moment as well.
Yes, but as we said, the Maine Celtics, all right, they're getting their playoffs underway in the G League. They're trying to avenge the title that they were runners up for last year, and they're 16-4 in the last 20 games, so they're off to a very
That
nice
ain't bad.
start here.
It's like they're doing exactly what the Boston Celtics are doing. They're just winning, winning, winning. But listen, we're seeing highlights right here against the Westchester Knicks, and that's the team that they're going to face in the semifinals. So they're going to have, and they're only 1-3 against Westchester this season. So they have not had a ton of success against the Knicks. But let's hope that this hot play that they're riding right now, and they're riding on the coattails of the MVP of the entire league, who dropped 38 last night to go along with 12 assists. Let's hope that they can ride that into the finals yet again, and this time come out on top.
We'll be keeping an eye on you, Maine, but break out your easy pass because we're going back down south, just about an hour 40, hour 45, depending on that traffic around the Tobin Bridge. It can get a little tricky.
Yeah, that can get a little
to
backed up.
Boston, because they are back home, and we are getting into our future focus. This is where we look at what's coming down the pipeline. It starts with Miami. Miami is coming off of a win streak of their own. 5 games for Miami. Look at them.
Yeah, how does a team lose 10 straight and then win 5 straight? I'm not quite sure how that happens, but Miami is having a little life right now going toward potentially a playoff run. And listen, it's all about their defense. Their defense is about 10 or 11 points better in terms of defensive efficiency during this run than their season number. So the defense has been really good. I think they have 5 or 6 guys on the roster who are averaging better than a steal per game during this 5-game win streak. So the defense is flying around. That's what the Celtics are going to have to pay attention to tonight. They've got to take care of the ball, and they've got to make sure that they move the ball until they get a great shot. Don't settle for good shots.
All right, we started off Weekly Rewind with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns come to TD Garden on Friday. Not expected to see Kevin Durant in that game, but what else can the Celtics take away from this?
Well, they just won by 30 in Phoenix without Jason Tatum, so let's hope that they can come out and win by 30 with Jason Tatum during this game. Listen, I think a lot of Celtics fans have been excited about this game since the schedule came out. You're going to get Booker, Beal, and Kevin Durant. We don't know who's going to play in this game for the Suns on Friday night, but it's Friday night against a team that came into the season, and we know they've got a ton of talent. Let's hope it's a competitive game, but let's hope that the Celtics play well and come out on top.
Absolutely. And then Sunday, of course, we round out this little homestand here with Washington. And Jordan Poole just had 35 against Miami. It was a loss to Miami, but Jordan Poole is somebody to be reckoned with at times on this Washington Wizards team.
He's had some moments against the Celtics, too. Some not so great and some really great. But listen, this is a Washington team that is not playing for the playoffs. That team, I won't say the team, the organization is playing for the lottery right now. So we don't even know who's going to be out on the court when they meet on Sunday. But the Celtics got to take care of business. They just had an entire road trip basically against teams in this position, teams that are not really in the playoff hunt. Okay, they took care of business on that trip. They got to keep doing that here as they close out the week on Sunday against the Washington Wizards when they come to town. And by the way, that if they do play everyone, the Wizards, they do have some good young talent on that team, so you just never know what can happen.
Then the week ends at MSG. The Celtics will see the Knicks. They're the 2 seed. The Knicks are the 3 seed. That's not going to change with this matchup, but still a fun one to look at the end of the season.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I feel like people are overlooking the New York Knicks right now. It's as if like Jalen Brunson is out, so they're not a competitive team. No, I think they've won 5 out of the last 7 games or something along those lines. You've got Bridges is playing awesome basketball right now. OG Anunoby is playing awesome basketball. Those guys are picking up the scoring load with Jalen Brunson out. They've still got there's a lot of talent on that team. I would not want to play them in the playoffs. A lot of people are kind of overlooking them. That team is built to win in the playoffs. So let's hope that the Celtics grab a win this time, and then if they meet in the playoffs, they can continue that role.
Absolutely. Let's keep this win streak going.
Yes, let's go.
Marc, great job back, buddy.
God.
Knock
I think I'm
off
gonna
that
pass out. I'm
rust.
tired.
You did a wonderful
Thank
job.
you.
We
Thank
miss you
you.
a lot. We are so happy to have you back.
Thank
We
you.
are happy to have you with us every Wednesday. Keep watching. Keep leaving us comments. Any tailor-made stats
Yes.
or any social Snapchats
Send
that
it
you
in.
want to see.
Comment below.
The playoffs are coming, guys.
That's right.
The playoffs are coming. We're not going anywhere. We'll see you next week.